why are we seeing Americans being asked on the street to provide proof of citizenship in Minnesota? Is that targeted enforcement? And are you advising Americans to carry proof of citizenship?
In every situation, we're doing targeted enforcement. If we are on a target and doing an operation, there may be individuals surrounding that criminal that we may be asking who they are and why they're there and having them validate their identity. That's what we've always done, in asking people who they are so that we know who's in those surroundings. And if they are breaking our federal laws, we will detain them as well until we run that processing.
So that is all lies. Her cover story for what they're doing in Minnesota is falling apart as fast as her face is melting. No, they're not. There's nothing targeted. Targeted doesn't mean anything. They just say it. Every enforcement action is targeted in the same way every shot fired is defensive, regardless of what's actually going on. They are walking up to random United States citizens and asking for them to present their papers. That's what is actually going on. Random people. She sort of said, well, they're near a person that we're going after that's targeted. I don't even believe that. I don't believe that there's any target whatsoever. But even if that was true, which it's not, but even if that was true, you being near a criminal does not make you a criminal. That's not how America is supposed to work, but that is unfortunately how America works under Donald Trump and under Kristi Noem. Gee, I wonder why her job approval rating in recent polls has been at 36%. I'm not quite sure. But in addition to having to present your papers, you have an increasing chance of being shot by one of Donald Trump's secret police. Yet another person was shot since our last show. A man was shot in the leg during an attempted traffic stop. Now, we're gonna be explaining to you what DHS said about this, so take it with a grain or perhaps a mountain of salt. But they say it happened just after 7 p.m. after law enforcement officials were attacked with a shovel and a broom as they tried to complete a targeted traffic stop. Again, it's all targeted. It's not random suppression of a city because that's what Donald Trump wants to do. It's all targeted. And so anyway, they say they were attempting a traffic stop of a man, a Venezuelan man, who they said is in the country illegally. That hasn't been demonstrated yet. Might be true, might not be. The man left in a vehicle which crashed into a parked car and then ran away. As the officer pursued the man, he assaulted the officer. All this is according to NBC News. While the officer and the man were in a struggle on the ground, DHS says, two people came out of an apartment and attacked the officer with a snow shovel and a broom handle. The original man then got loose and also began attacking the officer with a shovel or a broomstick. And then this is the quote from DHS. Fearing for his life and safety as he was being ambushed by 3 individuals, the officer fired defensive shots to defend his life, and the man was shot in the leg. So defensive shots to defend his life. I think that the lady doth defend too much. This is all propaganda. I mean, look, maybe that's actually what happened, that he was chasing this guy and then people came out, a vicious ambush with a broom handle. But to be clear, broom handle shovels are not approved weapons that can be used to bludgeon cops to death. Trump flagpoles, fire extinguishers, those can be used to bludgeon cops to death. And if you do it that way, you'll get a pardon from the president. Not shovels, not broom handles, everybody catch up. But anyway, so he had to do this, he had to shoot this guy. And at least in this case, he shot him in the leg. It's better than some of the stuff ICE has done recently in that area, I suppose. The man and the officer are in the hospital. The other 2 men are in custody, supposedly. Again, this is what they're saying. There is now, by the way, a phone call that has gone out, like the video of a phone call of a woman making it seem as if the man was shot while in his home. Again, a lot of misinformation can come out in the wake of these things, either in videos posted on Reddit or from statements from DHS. And so I'm not gonna jump to any conclusions, as I didn't initially with Renee Nicole Good, but we also know that these people are massive freaking liars and there's no reason to trust them. Viviana, what do you make of this? Bearing in mind this is the first on the show that you've commented on any of this stuff.
I mean, gosh, it has been such a whirlwind, John. And it's hard to say that I'm surprised because we kind of have seen this leading up to this sort of Gestapo behavior. And I mean, the Supreme Court has already sort of authorized them to say, show me your papers to people that they think look to appear to be, on the surface, undocumented. I also don't know exactly what to believe when I first read stories. I got to dig a little bit deeper. I suggest that everybody continue to do what you're doing. I think that man fled into a house, and that might be why their confusion is. But it's a war zone. I mean, really, they're attacking us with broomsticks. Wasn't there a Disney movie about bed knobs and broomsticks or something? That doesn't sound that scary to me. These people have assault weapons, tanks, and they're afraid of people fleeing them. And then it's right at this cusp of like, show us her papers. She didn't answer it, John. The answer is yes, Kristi Noem. The answer is yes, people should be carrying their papers. That's what you want. So say it.
Yeah. No, 100%. That is simply the truth. And by the way, we are focusing on Minnesota. A lot of people are, but to be clear, this is not the only place where ICE is out in force right now. They're out in a number of other blue states. I know Illinois has quite a bit going on. I've read some stuff about Ohio. I also know Texas has a lot of ICE enforcement going on. LA actually just had some ICE enforcement. Now, they didn't dispatch their 3,000 goons to cause as much chaos as possible. I'm sure they'll do that in LA again, don't worry. But it is happening in a lot of different places, and it's very hard to know what to trust, except that we know we can't trust the government. Hell, we were told that by Kristi Noem on the news just a few days ago, so I'm gonna listen to her in this particular case. Now, there is a lot of chaos and developing chaos in Minnesota with the 2,000 to 3,000 ICE and Border Patrol and DHS officers there. We have CNN who's reporting in the aftermath of last night's shooting on what's going on in the protests. Take a look at that.
There is a growing crowd here that is increasingly angry, that is following ICE, what we believe are ICE officers or other immigration agents throughout this neighborhood, screaming at them, telling them to leave in the strongest possible terms they can muster here. Meanwhile, ICE, trying to push back this crowd, was letting off tear gas canisters over and over and over. And at one point, Abby, they were going off all around us, and actually it became so chaotic that one bounced off my foot and bounced off my side.
We're looking at what seems to be a standoff between federal agents and protesters. They're divided by a police line, but there is something of a standoff that is developing here on the scene where you are.
Yes, a bit of a standoff between invading forces that the locals there don't want and people desperately trying to protect their friends and neighbors. That's what's going on. And as that reporter said, so I shot someone, and then as always, they will use whatever happens, even if it's them instigating it, as a reason to go further. And so they started setting off flashbangs all over the place, just random people that have nothing to do with the protests, having tear gas and flashbangs go off right near them. That's what they want to do. That's why they're there. And we're all paying for it, by the way. We're paying over between $1 and $200 billion for the government-sponsored suppression of ICE. And this is what it's going towards. And so a lot of people are really angry about this. God only knows, tear gas canisters can do real damage to people, especially kids. And ICE isn't checking to see if kids are in the range of this. They're not trained on how to do that. They've got their 2 weeks or so of training. And so almost certainly more people are going to be injured, maimed, killed as a result of this. And coming in now, we have Governor Tim Walz with another statement. I was pretty critical of his initial reaction to the shooting from last week. Let's see what he had to say in his most recent address.
News reports simply don't do justice to the level of chaos and disruption and trauma the federal government is raining down upon our communities. They're pulling over people indiscriminately, including US citizens, and demanding to see their papers. And at grocery stores, at bus stops, even at our schools. They're breaking windows, dragging pregnant women down the street, just plain grabbing Minnesotans and shoving them into unmarked vans, kidnapping innocent people with no warning and no due process. Let's be very, very clear. This long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. Instead, it's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government. You have an absolute right to peacefully film ICE agents as they conduct these activities. So carry your phone with you at all times. And if you see these ICE agents in your neighborhood, take out that phone and hit record. Help us create a database of the atrocities against Minnesotans, not just to establish a record for posterity, but to bank evidence for future prosecution.
Okay, so I don't disagree with anything that he said, and people are filming it. They should be filming it. There's a reason that Brett gave people filming the ICE interactions his Turk of the Year at the end of last year. That's all good, and he's right. This is repression. It has nothing to do with immigration. There's no targeting going on, but also like, I don't know, like, am I being I never know anymore if I'm being a dick. Why are you in that room, Tim Walz? Get out there. How about, I mean, first of all, you already said you were gonna call up the National Guard potentially. And you haven't done that. And I know that that's a big escalation or whatever. And so you're very worried about what would happen. We're all worried about, civil war or whatever. But like, could you at least get out of the wood paneled room? Like, why don't you go? Why aren't you there with the people? Maybe then ICE would back off a little bit. If the leader was there, if you got the cops with you, you brought your bodyguards or whatever. I feel like he's in his mansion or whatever. He's in the Capitol building, and it just feels very far apart from the actual chaos we're seeing. Viviana, you let me know if you think that is an unfair expectation.
Well, let me take this opportunity, John, to let you know you are not being a dick.
Thank you.
This is very chaotic times. And I would like to see him out in the forefront too. That's one of the things that we saw Dr. Martin Luther King doing. I mean, he was on the front lines with people, marching peacefully, making a protest. And if that means putting your body in between your constituents and the danger and something happens to you, then that's how heroes are made, Governor Walz. I'm not saying to do it, but that's how you put yourself out there. I do appreciate him giving his constituents a little bit of hope by saying we are gonna prosecute these people, whether that's in a pipe dream or not. It does make us feel like we know what's wrong. Our morality compass might be better than Donald Trump's in this case. And so we know that this is wrong, and we know that this should be punished. And we're hoping that there's still some semblance of law and rule in our country that we can adhere to. But it sounds like it's slipping away a little bit, especially in Minnesota right now.
Yeah, and we're all worried about what's happening right now, but we also know that this is a prelude to what they're going to be doing later on this year to try to manipulate the elections. And for Walz specifically, he was a soldier for years and years. I'm not asking. I'm not like, I don't know what would be someone who like. I'm not like Maxine Waters. Throw yourself on top of that car. Like I'm not like he's a soldier, and also. He's not even running for re-election. It's not like he really has to, like, politically, how will this play with like the polls? You're not running again, dude. Get out there, you're freed up. You're a lame duck, but you don't have to be. You could be some other kind, you could be a brave duck, Tim Walz, okay? Because you don't need to run again. So get out there and support people. And you know that he's still got his eye on future elections. Maybe do something to earn consideration when you run in 2028 or whatever it is that you're going to do.